Cyberpunk is the best game on the Switch 2. If you think it's just some weak, downgraded port, trust me, you're missing out. I spent a lot of time with this version, and honestly, it blew me away. It feels like a whole new experience that pushes the Switch 2 in ways I didn't expect. Today, I'm breaking down exactly why this is such a big deal, from the controls and performance to the visuals and content. When the Switch 2 announced its lineup of launch games and Cyberpunk was there, sure, I was like, yeah, I played that game a long time ago, but it genuinely had me curious to see what they would do with the Switch 2 version, and I gotta say, they've gone above and beyond to make a version that's actually optimized for the Switch 2 console. Now, I've been a fan of Cyberpunk since its launch back in 2020. I know, the launch was rough. Everybody remembers those glitchy trailers and the massive backlash because of crashes and bugs, especially on the older consoles. But here's the thing. When I first played it, I never experienced the insane amount of issues people did. I got a few crashes, sure, but I was drawn to the story and the world that Projekt Red created. I honestly felt like this hate was a bit overblown, especially when you consider how ambitious the game was. And I played it on Xbox Series X. The futuristic city, the branching narratives, the characters, it just felt special. It was something special. That said, even back then, I felt like the game didn't fully deliver on the promise of a truly immersive, futuristic experience. Sure, it was great, but something felt missing. Switch 2 was announced, there was a ton of debate around what the hardware could actually handle. Some said it's on par with an Xbox Series S, others compared it to a base PS4 or maybe even a PS4 Pro. The truth is, it's not exactly any of those. It's a unique system with its own strengths and quirks, so the idea of Cyberpunk running well on it sounded almost too good to be true. After all, this is a game known for pushing hardware limits on high-end PCs and next-gen consoles. How could it possibly run smoothly on a handheld? And like I said, when Cyberpunk first came out, I played it on the Xbox Series X. It got a lot of heat. It was great. I thought it was awesome, but it did just feel like it was missing something, like that je ne sais quoi behind it. And you know what? I hadn't touched the game in a while, so it coming out on the Switch 2 was a perfect way to refresh my memory on it. The game launches with a showcase of exclusive Switch 2 features you won't find anywhere else. We got motion controls, touchscreen integration, motion gestures, mouse support. These aren't just gimmicks. These actually add real depth and control options that fit the Switch 2 perfectly. I think them adding all these Switch 2 specific features is just icing on the cake. Again, they could have been actually lazy about it and not done anything. Let's talk about the controls because that's where a lot of the magic happens. First, you got the gyro aiming. I had to spend some time adjusting the sensitivity. Initially, it felt a bit all over the place, but once dialed in, it felt incredibly precise and fluid. For a shooter like Cyberpunk, having that extra control makes combat feel tight and responsive. And I really hope more Switch 2 games lean into the gyro aiming like this because it adds a level of immersion that traditional controls can't match. Then there's the motion controls, like dodging by physically tilting the Joy-Con or reloading by flicking it a certain way. It's actually super cool and it adds a layer of physical engagement. That said, the melee attacks using motion controls were hit or miss for me. Sometimes the game would register a quick punch when I was aiming for something heavier. Hopefully Projekt Red can polish this in future updates because the concept is actually awesome. Now the touchscreen features are handy for quick inventory management and customizing your character without pausing the game. It's nothing revolutionary, but it definitely streamlines some of the menus. But the real surprise here was the mouse support. I didn't expect to get PC-style precision on a handheld, but it works pretty decent. It's smooth and responsive. After tweaking the sensitivity, it felt pretty good. This could be a game changer for players who prefer mouse aiming but want the portability of the Switch 2. Now moving on to performance, the game has two main visual modes, performance and quality. Performance mode runs decent at 40 frames per second with a slightly reduced resolution, while quality keeps it at 30 per second with higher visual fidelity. And I spent hours switching back and forth to see which one felt better. Honestly, performance mode was my go-to. The higher frame rate just makes the gameplay feel much more smoother and more responsive, which is especially important during combat or driving sequences. The resolution drop isn't very noticeable unless you're really scrutinizing textures up close. Quality mode looks great and is definitely sharper, but the frame rate dip to 30 FPS felt less fluid to me. Either way, it's still impressive that the Switch 2 can deliver these options for a game as demanding as Cyberpunk. And visually, the game looks fantastic on the Switch too. The lighting, environment details, character models, they're all very well done. The only place where you can tell it's not quite a powerhouse console is in the textures like the hair. They're a bit simplified, less detailed compared to the PS5 or high-end PC, but honestly, unless you're staring really closely, it's hard to notice. And driving through Night City felt immersive and alive. The game's futuristic world really comes to life on the handheld screen. For a portable experience, this is about as good as it gets. Now, one huge bonus is the Switch 2 version includes the Phantom Liberty DLC, which was not available on base PS4 or Xbox One versions. It shows just how capable the Switch 2 is and how well CD Projekt Red worked with Nintendo to bring a complete experience to this platform. To be honest, the biggest selling point for me to support Cyberpunk on the Switch 2 is the fact that the full game is on the cartridge. This isn't a game key card. This isn't a download code. There's no bells and whistles. The full thing is on here. And if you look at all of the launch games for the Switch 2, it was a mess. A whole bunch of anti-consumer nonsense. But CD Projekt Red took a game like Cyberpunk and put it fully on the Switch 2 cart. And for that reason and that reason alone is why I am supporting this game so much, because I want more publishers and developers to support putting the games on the cartridges. I know it's the modern digital age. I know in regards to the Switch 2, some developers don't want to pay the high cost for the Switch 2 cartridges, but CD Projekt Red did it, and that alone is why this game actually was one of the best-selling Switch 2 games so far. So I'm going to support CD Projekt Red's efforts with Cyberpunk. It's a perfect time. If you didn't play Cyberpunk the first time around, you got the base game plus the DLC. There's a lot of content here. Has a lot of features that weren't even available on the PS4, PS5, Xbox consoles. This is literally the Ultimate Edition, like they promote it as. And it's crazy to think that this game originally came out 5 years ago. I remember playing it on my channel, on live stream, on Xbox Series X, and I enjoyed it. And now here I am once again reviewing it, talking about how well it runs on a Nintendo system. And this version not only brought the game back to life for me, but also proved that the Switch 2 is a contender in the handheld market for AAA titles. If you've been on the fence about picking this up or wondering about the Switch 2's capabilities, Cyberpunk is a great place to start. It delivers on story, gameplay, and technical polish in a way that surprises many. So yeah, guys, that's my dive into Cyberpunk 2077. If you think I'm sucking the game off a little bit, too bad. I was really impressed. CD Projekt Red, you did a great job bringing it over. If you want me to cover other Switch 2 games or have suggestions of what I should review next, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm always open to your suggestions. Don't forget to hit that subscription button. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. Every sub really helps out. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter, Discord, all that. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, thank you. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.